I discovered my husband has been secretly recording our arguments to use against me. What I found when I checked his files completely changed our marriage. When James and I fought, he always seemed to remember every word I said while I struggled to recall exact details. During heated moments, I'd say something like, "You never help around the house," and he'd counter with, "Last Tuesday at 7:43 p.m., you specifically said you preferred doing the laundry yourself because I don't do it right." His precision was uncanny and increasingly frustrating. After 3 years of marriage, our arguments had become more frequent, especially since I started a demanding new job. One night, after a particularly nasty fight about family finances, I noticed something odd. Hallower our argument, James kept his phone face down on the coffee table, positioned perfectly between us. A suspicion formed. The next morning while he showered, I checked his phone. There it was, a recording app with dozens of files labeled with dates and brief descriptions. Kitchen, fight money, bedroom, her mother, living room, work hours. My hands shook as I played one. There was my voice, raw with emotion, saying things I barely remembered in the heat of the moment. There was James, sounding calm and reasonable in comparison. I quickly checked more files and found he'd been recording our arguments for over a year. I felt violated, betrayed. Was he building a case against me? Building a case against me? You been for divorce? I confronted him the moment he stepped out of the shower. You've been recording our fights. I held up his phone. The app's still open. Were you planning to use these against me somehow? His face fell. It's not what you think, he said, reaching for a towel. I've been seeing a therapist, he suggested. I record our arguments so I could work on my communication skills. I didn't believe him. Then why keep it secret? And why do you use these recordings to throw my words back at me during fights? He sat on the bed, still dripping. I started recording to improve myself, but then I don't know. It became a way to prove I was right. I am sorry. Still skeptical, I demanded to see all the files. That's when I discovered something unexpected. A folder titled My Filesures. Inside were dozens more recordings. They were of James alone in his car, analyzing his behavior after our fights. I completely overreacted when she mentioned her promotion. His voice said in one recording, she was sharing good news, and I made it about my insecurity. Another, I need to stop bringing up her mother. It's a cheap shot, and I only do it when I am losing an argument. I sat stunned, listening to my husband's private reflections, but his genuine attempts to understand his role in our conflicts. In one particularly raw recording from just last week, he was crying, "I am becoming my father," Entrugene words as weapons. I need to be better for her. When I looked up, James was watching me, vulnerable and exposed in a way I'd never seen before. I never meant to use them against you, he said quietly, but having concrete examples of how I speak to you, it's helped me see patterns I needed to change. That night began the most honest conversation of our marriage. We agreed to delete all the secret recordings, but also to start a new practice, recording ourselves together with full knowledge and consent, then listening back as a tool for better communication. 6 months later, our arguments haven't disappeared, but they've transformed. We're more mindful of our words, more quick to apologize, more willing to see the other's perspective. The recordings have become less frequent as we've learned to truly hear each other in real time. Sometimes the most painful discoveries in a marriage become the foundation for something stronger. What I initially saw as betrayal turned out to be a misguided attempt at growth. One that once brought into the light helped us build the relationship we both actually wanted.